Hi guys, welcome to Testimonial Tuesdays. I know I've missed a couple weeks. It's been a crazy couple past weeks with Coco's surgery happening, me almost going into labor. It's never boring around my house, that's for sure. Coco is back there laying down right now. Today's testimony, I really wanted to talk to you about my journey with finding out my child had Down syndrome. I've always publicly said, been very positive about it, and it is a positive thing in my life, but something that I didn't really get to focus on until this last week that Coco was in surgery, when I met another set of parents whose son Adam also has Down syndrome. Was the loss, the heartache, the trials behind that, they're real. We were staying at the Ronald McDonald House, and which in the new UCF hospital, it's downstairs in the hospital. So nice to be, close to your child. And I came in for dinner and was gonna go to sleep, and I eavesdrop on people's conversations. So if you're ever around me, know that I'm always listening, trying to take things in. And I hear these two moms talking back and forth, and they're talking about heart surgery. One mom's had a set of twins, and they were, I want to say, like 6 months old, maybe a little bit younger, and they were getting ready to do heart surgery with the same surgeon that did Coco's heart surgery. And the other mom was in a couple weeks gonna be having heart surgery as well. And I heard a couple familiar things, and I just told him, I said, I'm listening, I'm eavesdropping in on your conversation, and I heard that, such and such is doing your surgery, and my daughter also had her surgery done by her, and it began that to open that conversation, and the father that was sitting by one of the moms said, what was wrong with your baby's heart? And I said, well, she had 4 holes in her heart, and I named off all the medical names, and he was like, wow. And I said, yeah, she was born with Down syndrome and Hirschsprung's disease, and it's more common that kids with Down syndrome have heart issues. And he said, our son Adam has Down syndrome. Can we talk to you? And I just kind of lit up. I said, yeah, come on over here. And first thing I did was, get my phone out, flip through, and show them Coco's smiling face. And he was like, oh my goodness. And he told his wife, come here. And he said, her Coco has Down syndrome too. And through our conversation that night, their son was, I believe, about 6 months old. He was born extremely premature, and for the first 4 months of his life, they had no idea he had Down syndrome. It was the couple's first child, a son, and I just seen in the dad, like, not turmoil, but so much confusion, so many questions. He just had so many questions just in his eyes. He wasn't so much asking me them right away, but he just looked at me, and I could tell. And at that time, Mike was putting John Silver to bed, and I was just trying to breathe through contractions. So I was getting ready to visit, and I was showing them all her pictures, and I went to her heart surgery picture, because that was probably one of the most intense moments for me, is when you hand your baby over to this doctor, and they cut their chest open, and just, it's unreal what modern day medicine can do. But it was one of a very intense, scary, necessary part of her life, and I wanted to share that with them. And as they're talking, the dad said, well, how did you take it when you found out Coco had Down syndrome. I said, well, I looked at her and I remember I was putting on her first outfit and I turned to the doctor and said, can you see if she has Down syndrome? Like, she looks like my brother. Can you check? And that was pretty much how it happened for me. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. And my brother also has Down syndrome, and so I could tell, like, her physical markers kind of, there was a similarity there. And he said, we didn't know for 4 months, and I was blown away. And he said, I keep going over in my head, like, what did I do wrong? Like, I've been a good person. I've worked hard. I just had all these dreams about what my first son was going to be like. I only wanted one child. And hey, babe. And come here. And now I just ask God, like, why did you do this to me? Like, there's people that, do drugs and don't take care of their babies, and they don't even want babies, and why me? And I listen, because all of his feelings are valid. All of his feelings are his real feelings, and I just kind of smiled at him, and I said, I have that actual same question. I said, I asked myself, what did I do to deserve to have Coco? But it's what did I do right? Because what I know now is that she has blessed my life more than I could have ever imagined. What did I do to deserve her? And he was just kind of looking at me like I was crazy. And we kept talking, and he said, well, how did you tell your family? And I said, what do you mean, how did I tell my family? I just told them. And they said, from day one, you told them? I said, yeah. And he said, my family, I don't think I can tell them. And I was like, you have a 6-month-old baby that's in the hospital, hasn't ever left the hospital, and your family doesn't know why they're here? And he said, no. He said, it's not really any of their business, and, I don't want to open that door. And through our conversation, I realized that he was so scared of his family rejecting his child, not thinking they're good enough, feeling sorry for him and his wife, and the reality is that's a lot of people's story that happens. When Coco was first born, I remember reaching out to one of a mom that her mother, when she found out the baby was going to have Down syndrome, she said, you need to have an abortion. And the girl said, no, I want my baby. And she said, well, then you're dead to me, and has never spoke to her since. Like, that is some people's reality. And finally Mike came out, and I told him about the couple, and we got to sit there, and he got to share his experiences as a father, because they're different than mine. I think a lot for dads and husbands, like, there's a need in them to want to fix things and make things right, take care of their family, fix everything. And Coco having Down syndrome is something Mike cannot fix. It's not something that he can change. All her health problems that she's had, it's not something that we can fix. And we can deal with it, and we can go through it, but we can't change what we're going to happen. And so it's harder for dads, I think. But as we sat there that night, sharing our story, hearing their stories, crying, both of us, all of us crying, and laughing, because it's just an emotional thing. I told the mom, I said, I am a 10 times better woman than I probably ever would be had I not had Coco. I said, I've almost lost her 3 times, and when you have that perspective of you know what? She's alive today. So yesterday when she almost died could have been the horrible day. And so today, whatever we face going forward, as long as she's with me, I'm going to take it on. I'm going to accomplish it. Same too. John, man. Shh. Same too in my work. Like, I'm sorry, there isn't nothing that I can't do now. There isn't. I have survived the most traumatic events that a mom should ever have to go through. So bring on any other problems in life. Like, it has given me a reality of anything is possible. You can push through, and the biggest thing is it's all in your perspective. I've been doing leadership courses and a lot of self evaluation and just trying to become the best me lately. And one of the books I have had the pleasure of reading is by Andy Andrews, and oh, my mind's drawing a blank. I want to believe it's called The Traveler's Gift. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And he's having a conversation with a friend of his, and they're pretty much homeless on the beach, and he brought Vienna sausages and a can of sardines, and they were eating their dinner, and he asked the guy, he said, well, what are you doing right now? Like, I just have a question. Like, what are you doing? And the guy kind of looked at him like he was crazy. He's like, well, I'm sitting on the beach having Vienna sausages and sardines. Like, and that's it. And he said, well, I am on the ocean view with the sun setting, having surf and turf. And the guy kind of chuckled, and it just having a child with Down syndrome has blessed me in the way of I have a different perspective on life. I look at maybe the same situation that some people would think is horrible or negative, and I find that blessing, and that's the biggest thing that Coco has done for my life. I have talked a lot about, always looking for your blessing, that there is a blessing in everything, in your trials, and if you look hard enough, you'll find it. But the reality is there are still negative things every day. There are still heartaches that we're going to go through. But how we choose to face them makes the biggest difference. So, as I am 9 months pregnant, having one baby girl recovering from surgery, a wild child running around like crazy, I am blessed. And I know that. And I just wanted to share that with you today, that this journey has not been easy, but it has been worth it. And if you think that this would touch anybody's heart, feel free to share this message. I love that I missed 1 week of Testimonial Tuesdays, and Sarah said, did I miss your video? It's amazing, like, what sharing my story has, who is actually listening. I'm actually shocked. And I just want to thank you, because all of the relationships that I've built over this last year have really touched my life, changed my life, and I want to move forward. I want to help my community look at things in a positive light, help my coworkers know that anything is possible. And when you start to change your perspective on life, big things can happen. So have a good day.